Okay, so we're going to go over the midterm review, and it's going to be broken up into a few parts. Our first part is going to cover inverses. So it says find the inverse of the function number 1. We have f of x equals negative 2x minus 10. So there are 4 steps. Let's go through each one. The first step is to replace the function notation with the variable y. So I'm going to write y equals negative 2x minus 10. Now our second step is to switch the variables x and y, not the sign, not any coefficients, but specifically just the 2 variables. So I'm going to write x equals negative 2y minus 10. Our next step, step 3, is to get the variable y by itself. Now, in this particular problem, it's not too difficult. The first thing we want to do is to add 10 to both sides. So on the left side, we are going to have x plus 10. On the right side, negative 10 plus 10 becomes 0, and we're left with negative 2y. So our next step is going to be to divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 2y divided by negative 2 simply becomes y, and we are left with x plus 10 over negative 2. Now, just for a point of clarification, usually you won't see a negative in the denominator, so your answer choices will look a little bit different. What they're going to do is move the negative up to the numerator. So that means that the denominator is going to be a positive 2. I'm going to take the opposite of whatever is in the numerator, so I'm going to have negative x and negative 10, and this will be our answer. So negative x minus 10 over 2. Okay, let's go to the second problem. So we're going to find the inverse of this function as well. G of x equals 2 over negative x minus 3 plus 1. This one is going to be slightly more involved, and you'll see why in just a minute. So our step 1 is still to replace the function notation with the variable y. So we have y equals 2 over negative x minus 3 and then plus 1. Our second step is the same. We are going to switch the variables x and y. So I'm going to write x equals 2 over negative y minus 3 plus 1. Now our third step, remember, is to get the variable y by itself. This is going to be a slightly more involved because of the location of the variable y, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But our first step to get the variable y by itself is going to be to subtract 1 from both sides of the equation. On the left side, we are going to have x minus 1. On the right side, positive 1 minus 1 becomes 0. I'm left with 2 over negative y minus 3. Now, the variable is in the denominator. We do not want that, and we want to get the variable up to the numerator. The only way to do that, or one of the ways to do that, I should say, is to take the reciprocal of this side. So I'm going to take the reciprocal, which will give me negative y minus 3 over 2. And this is what we want because we want the variable in the numerator. If I take the reciprocal of the right side, I also have to take the reciprocal of the left side. So if I take the reciprocal of x minus 1, it becomes 1 over x minus 1. Okay, there's a few more steps in order to get the variable y by itself. The next thing we want to do is get rid of this 2 that's in the denominator. And to do that, we are going to multiply both sides of the equation by 2. So if I multiply this side by 2, these 2's will cross out, and I'm going to be left with negative y minus 3. And on this side, if I multiply 1 over x minus 1 by 2, the 2 is going to move into the numerator. So I'm going to have 2 over x minus 1. Our next step is going to be to get rid of this negative 3, and we are going to add 3 to both sides of the equation. Now, on the right side, negative 3 and positive 3 become 0, so I'm left with negative y. On the left side, don't make the mistake of adding negative 1 and positive 3. This positive 3 is going to go on the outside of this rational term here. So I'm going to write 2 over x minus 1. That stays the same. And then we are going to put the plus 3 on the outside. Our final step is going to be to get rid of the negative sign. And we normally say we divide by negative 1. Now, dividing by negative 1 is the same thing as taking the opposite. So the opposite of negative y is positive y. I'm going to take the opposite of these two terms. I'm not going to touch the denominator, just the numerator. So 2 over x minus 1 is going to become negative 2 over x minus 1. Positive 3 is going to become negative 3, and this is your answer. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. And this one is slightly easier. We're going to run into that same problem because we have a variable in the denominator, but it's going to be a little bit easier. So our step 1 is still replace f of x with y. So y equals 1 over x minus 1. Our step 2 is to switch the variables. So we have x equals 1 over y minus 1. Our step 3 is to get the variable y by itself. So the first thing we'll do is add 1 to both sides. On the left side, we are going to have x plus 1. On the right side, we are going to have 1 over y. Now, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to move the variable y out of the denominator. In order to do that, we take the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1 over y is simply y, and the reciprocal of x plus 1 is 1 over x plus 1. Okay, next up we have our last inverse problem. So it says find the inverse of f of x equals negative 5 over 9x plus 25 over 9. So we're still going to follow our steps. Step 1, y equals negative 5 over 9x plus 25 over 9. Step 2, we switch our variables. So we are going to get x equals negative 5 over 9y plus 25 over 9. In step 3, we are going to get actually y by itself. So let's go ahead first and subtract 25 over 9 from both sides of the equation. And of course, this becomes 0. On the left side, we have x minus 25 over 9. On the right side, we have negative 5/9 y after bringing this down. Now, at this point, we know that y is being multiplied by negative 5 over 9. There's a few different ways to get rid of this negative 5 over 9. We can do it in multiple steps, but I'd rather do it in one complete step. So if you multiply by negative 5 over 9, the opposite of that is multiplying by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 5 over 9 is negative 9 over 5. I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by negative 9 over 5. Now, on the right side, if you multiply a number by its reciprocal, remember that it becomes 1, so I'm just left with y. On the left side, we have to distribute this negative 9 over 5. Now, negative 9 over 5 times x, I'm just going to write it out as negative 9 over 5x if I multiply these two. And then I'm going to write negative 9 over 5 times negative 25 over 9. So all I did was distribute. Now, this first part stays the same, so negative 9 over 5x. A negative times a negative is a positive. Now, at this point, I can multiply straight across. So, you can say 9 times 25 is 225, 5 times 9 is 45, and then divide. However, we can divide within the problem. Some people might call it cross-canceling. I don't like to call it that, but let's go ahead and divide. 9 divided by 9 is 1, so we can cross out that 9 and cross out that 9. 25 divided by 5, 5 goes into 25 5 times, like this becomes a 1, that becomes a 5, so we are just left with 5. And that is our answer, negative 9 over 5x plus 5. Okay, this concludes part 1 of our midterm review videos.